Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
That's what I'm talking about. All of our guests today, including Ross Tucker, sponsored by Passant Motors, celebrating over 30 years in the business. Let them show you why they are a top-rated pre-owned car dealer. Learn more at PassantMotors.com. It will be after a contrasting NFC, AFC title weekend. Chiefs versus Packers in Super Bowl 57. I'm talking about in terms of entertainment. February 12th in Arizona. Here to talk about it, as he always talks about the NFL, from Westwood One, CBS Sports, and the Ross Tucker Football Podcast. Our friend Ross Tucker, how are you, sir?
I am doing awesome, as always, gentlemen, on a Monday or Tuesday with you guys. How are you doing?
Very well, very well. How do you think Joseph Asai is doing? Do you feel for him, Ross?
Very much so. By the way, I will say I've gotten a lot of tweets from your listeners. You guys have a great audience.
We really do.
You know, I do stuff like this. Like, I do this stuff all over the place. Like, I do a lot of radio hits and shows and blah, blah, all week. I get a lot of feedback from Vancouver and Donnie and Dolly, which I love. So I very much appreciate the social media engagement, the emails, and everybody. You guys have a great audience, which is awesome. I mean, I like just talking to you guys anyway, but it's always especially nice when you have an audience like that. I feel really bad. Oh, I know I was bringing that up.
Yeah.
Several of them were disappointed I didn't wear an orange jacket on the sideline.
You had gray on. You had a gray pullover on. It was very disappointing. You got to work on that for the Super Bowl.
Actually, I had like a Patagonia, like almost like a beige fleece thing, and then it started to rain. So I ran out to my car 20 minutes before kick and grabbed this like black NFL rain jacket that's just like a generic NFL jacket. It's really funny. Although everybody made it seem like I was way more important after that because I had like an official NFL jacket. But I talked to my wife about this. I wanted to wear the orange jacket because I wanted it to be even clearer when I was getting TV time. But my wife said, you don't know who you're going to meet. There's a lot of people there. Do you really want to be the guy wearing the orange, ski jacket, rain jacket when you're meeting all these other people that are dressed nice? I was like, okay, that's probably more important than the TV time or whatever. Plus, I already got a lot of people texting me and tweeting me that they saw me on the sideline a few times. So I already got the TV time even without wearing the orange. It made people have to work harder.
There you go.
To see me.
There you go. Joseph Asai.
Yeah, awful. You guys know I'm kind of a softie for things like this. I probably told you before there was a game my second year in the NFL where I kind of thought I cost our team the game. I got stuffed on a 3rd and 1. We missed the kick. Niners went down, scored, and I really struggled with that all night. Didn't sleep a wink. Called my girlfriend, my parents, I don't know, 10 times maybe, all throughout the night. God bless them for answering every time. I was really, really struggling. Nobody ever teaches you how to have almost everything in your life go very well athletically, right? Like high school, college, you make the NFL, you start the NFL, and then all of a sudden you feel like you're the guy that cost your team the game. That's never happened. Like, for me, that never happened before. In football or basketball, I was like the best player. So it wasn't like I felt like I cost us the game. Very, very difficult to deal with that for the first time. And if you're Joseph Asai, when they were showing him Donnie on the sideline, and he was, his chest was heaving like that, I could just feel the pain. I could feel what he was going through. He's 22 years old, and he felt like he cost all those other guys in the locker room, everybody in the organization, all the millions of fans in Cincinnati, that community, felt like he cost them the game. And I hope people have told him, number one, it never comes down to one play. And number two, he played really well, actually, which I think makes things a lot better because they probably weren't even in that situation if Osai didn't play as well as he had.
Yeah. One of the strange parts of that is that he made an outstanding play. Nobody's talking about this, the play before. Hey, Russ, Patrick Mahomes, the ankle, all of that. What did he show you?
Well, that he's the best player in the sport. Probably has been for a few years now. It's interesting looking back on it now that Aaron Rodgers was the MVP the last couple of years, and maybe deservingly so. I guess I feel like this. If you ask 28, forget like whoever you think the top 5 quarterbacks are, whoever you think they are, ask the other 27 GMs if they could have one guy for the next 5 years who they would take. I think most of them, in fact, the vast majority, would say Patrick Mahomes. I think he's the best player in the league. I don't think it's a small margin. I think with Tyreek Hill going to Miami and Mahomes still leading the NFL in touchdown passes, wide margin, yards, wide margin. What he did again last night, I think he proved it. I mean, I thought the Bengals would win. I thought the ankle injury would be too much for him to overcome. To be able to do what he did in that moment with that health situation, it's just a huge game for his legacy, right? I mean, now it's like the game that we talk about, oh my gosh, he overcame the ankle and they're going to their 3rd Super Bowl in 4 years, as opposed to if they lost, the story is, wow, Patrick Mahomes is 0-4 against Joe Burrow and the Bengals. I mean, that would really have been a big knock on Mahomes' legacy if they lost that game.
Ross, can you remember a season where a team has gone through what the 49ers have with quarterbacks? And the conference championship game, you lose the 3 guy. Now the 4-stringer's in. He goes out. Purdy's back in, but he can't throw. I can't remember a team going through this at the quarterback position.
No, me neither, Rick. And it's awful. I felt bad for those guys. I was on the Niners sideline most of the time.
Yep.
Because as you guys know, I go to the away sideline to try to get as much TV time as possible. Try to get some close-ups as much as I can. But those guys like McCaffrey, that touchdown run was one of the best touchdown runs I've ever seen. That was a sick run by Christian McCaffrey. Those guys were playing so hard. Deebo Samuel's over there asking to return kicks to try to get him back in the game some way, somehow. They didn't have a quarterback that could throw the ball forward. I mean, I never seen anything like, to your question, Rick, I never seen anything like that in my life. There's a whole lot of things I could say about it, right? Like, so first of all, when I played back in my day, they would have 45 guys active for the game that could play no matter what. 8 guys were inactive. One of the 8 inactive guys was the 3rd quarterback who dressed for the game but only went in an emergency. And if he went in, the first 2 quarterbacks could not go back in the game. It's like, what do they call the hockey goalie that's like up in the press box?
E-bug.
Need him in an emergency situation or whatever?
Yeah, we just had that on the weekend.
E-bug, emergency backup goaltender.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the NFL used to have something like that kind of, but the guy was on the roster. And it's just a shame that, they didn't have that. Now, the flip side is 49ers could have had a 3rd quarterback available for the game. They chose not to.
Yeah.
And also, like, the Eagles forced those injuries. This wasn't like a fluke, like, non-contact injury. I mean, Brock Purdy got nailed in his arm because Kyle Shanahan had a tight end trying to block Hassan Reddick, which is never going to happen. And then I can't remember who hit Josh Johnson. Was it Sue or somebody else? And his head smashed the ground. Like, the Eagle, injuries are a big part of the sport of football, and the Eagles' defensive line forced and or caused those injuries.
All right, let's hear your preview. What do you like about the Eagles and the Chiefs in the Super Bowl in 2 weeks?
Ooh, there's a lot to like. I mean, first of all, the number 1 seeds in each conference, probably the 2 best teams. You've got Andy Reid, who you have to understand, guys, 14 years he was the head coach of the Eagles. That is a long time in professional sports. So he is very much a revered figure in Philadelphia by like 95% of the people. And so that storyline's amazing. kind of cool that either the Eagles will win the Super Bowl or Andy Reid will win another one. And then you've got the Kelsey brothers, two of the best players in the sport, on opposite teams going against each other, which is just amazing. It's just going to be every aspect of it, I think, is going to be fantastic. And then you got the storylines with the health, certainly for the Chiefs, of not only Mahomes, but the other guys that got hurt last night. They lost a few receivers.
Yeah.
They lost L'Jarius Sneed. That is the one thing that probably jumps out to me right now, is it feels like the Eagles are the healthier team going into that game.
And for the people who don't like the 2 weeks between games, this makes a whole lot of sense this year. Hey, you mentioned Andy Reid, Nick Sirianni, and the answer here might be Jalen Hurts, but what has made him successful in a pretty short period of time?
Well, you say Jalen Hurts. I think Sirianni and Shane Steichen, the offensive coordinator, and Brian Johnson, the quarterback coach, I think they deserve a lot of credit for helping to get Jalen Hurts to play this well. So Sirianni deserves that. But honestly, Donnie, and listen, he made a bunch of good calls yesterday, to get on the ball right away after the Devontae Smith catch that wasn't really a catch. So Shanahan didn't have time to challenge it. Challenging the Purdy fumble that we thought was incompletion at first, going for it on 4th and inches from his own 34-yard line with that quarterback sneak. I mean, Sirianni did a great job with game management yesterday. But I'll also say this. They have the best roster in the sport. And it's not particularly close. I mean, their O-line's the best. Their D-line's, they're all going to the Pro Bowl. They just have a loaded team, which is why this is the year.
Okay, prediction. We'll save that for next. Ross is joining us next week, right? We got that. Okay, we'll save that for next week. Okay, so think about it. Do your best, and we'll talk to you next week. And we expect to see some orange at the Super Bowl, or yellow, whatever bright color.
I'm going to be at the Super Bowl.
Oh, you're not?
I'll be there. I'll be through Wednesday next week, but I won't be on the sideline for the game. Sadly, yesterday was my last game broadcast until August. So I'm kind of sad about that. I don't know. I must have done like 30 games this year. Something nuts. It was awesome. Loved every second of it, almost as much as Rick loves myfrontpagestory.com, which is where he goes to make all of his wildest dreams come true. Yep. Myfrontpagestory.com. The rest of you already know what I'm talking about. It's the best Valentine's Day gift ever.
Valentine's Day right around the corner, Ross. Right around the corner.
Talk to you next week,
Go
Ross.
get it, Rick. Come on.
I'm on it. I
already know from your promo shots that you're not engaged with your family when you're with them. You're not present. You're on your phone breaking junior hockey news for the Vancouver Bublés or whatever they're called.
Vancouver Giants.
Make up for it and get her a story, myfrontpagestory.com.
I'm on it.
You have no idea how accurate you are there, Ross. Talk to you next week, my friend.
See you guys.